Hi Tyson,
Hey,
are you okay?
I'm good. How you guys doing over there?
Yeah, we're doing great. We really appreciate you joining us, Tyson. Just to let you know, you're on with myself, Ray, and my co-host Patrick.
Hey, thanks a
Okay,
lot for coming on, Tyson. We really appreciate it.
not a problem.
Right, we'll jump straight in then. Obviously, you're coming off a very big and publicised victory over Eduardo Dante in Chuto, Brazil. Can you talk to us a little bit about the build-up to the fight, your preparation for the fight, and how you felt going into the fight?
We knew about a good 6 weeks out from the fight that was gonna have this. So we had a really good training camp going on. Was well prepared, knowing that we was going into in his hometown, his backyard, in front of his family and friends, with almost an entire nation backing him. I I think I remember walking out. I didn't really hear much cheers for me, but everybody was just going wild when Eduardo came out. And but I mean, mentally, physically was well prepared, and as long as I knew, as long as I came there healthy, stepped up into ring feeling good, that I was gonna put on a good performance.
I mean, going into the fight, you were 11-4, so you've had quite a lot of fights. So you're used to being out there and fighting, but this kind of had a different feel to it with regards to who you were fighting. Obviously, with him being the champion of Bellator, one of the biggest organisations. Did you feel any additional pressure going into the fight?
Not really. Treated it just like another fight. Every fight I train really hard for. And we don't take anybody lightly, no matter if they're a champion or someone that has more of a losing record than a winning record. We just go into the fight doing what we do in training, and we just beat people up. That's all we do.
And yeah, and it paid off. I mean, it was a quick win as well, and obviously you got the knockout with just over not well within 96 seconds, which is obviously impressive. What has the fallout been for you? Have you obviously you've been, I think it's fair to say you've been in the media a lot more. There's been a lot more attention on you. How have you found all of that? Because I think that's probably new for you to have to deal with.
Yeah, as soon as I came off of the plane and we landed in the U.S., our phones were pretty much blowing off of the hook because we didn't have any internet service or telephone service up in Rio. So as soon as that happened, on our first layover, my agent is calling me up. He's like, "You need to do the interview with this guy right now. This next guy is going to be calling you in about 15 minutes." So there's been a lot of interviews, a lot of media going on. But just try to take it day by day.
Do you enjoy that side to it, or is that a little bit? Do you find that a bit pressure, or do you not mind that side to it? Do you just like getting yourself out there?
Yeah, I mean, no, I don't mind it at all. Coming on top of your guys' show, I don't mind it at all. I mean, I like getting out the story that everybody wants to know a little bit more about. I try to give out as much as I know or I possibly can give out from the time. But I mean, I enjoy it. I enjoy it. I like talking to people. I like meeting new fans, and I mean, everything's been pretty good.
Now, there's also been quite a little bit of talk in the press about a situation between yourself and Bellator. Are you able to talk about that, or is that something you're not allowed to talk about?
I could probably talk a little bit about it. I mean, I don't know the extent myself because usually my agent and my attorneys dealing with all the nitty gritty fine details. But I know a little bit on top of the surface of it,
Do you want
what's
to
going on.
do you want to tell us what you can tell us? Obviously, we're not going to probe, and we don't want to get you into trouble. Do you want to just tell us what you can tell us, and then we'll obviously move on to a different subject?
Sure, like Bellator right now. When they signed me back in March, I was really excited. And when they signed me in March, they promised me a fight in a week's time. So they gave me a deadline of about 2 days to get all my medicals, all my X-rays, CAT scans all cleared. I I finished everything within the deadline. The very next day, they said, "I'm sorry, but we're giving the fight back to the original fighter." So I was kind of bummed out first, and then right after that they said, "Hey, but we're gonna put you in the very next bantamweight tournament, which will be taking place in September." So I was like, "All right, that's cool." So training, getting ready for, keeping my eye out for September. Another 2 months passed, 2 or 3 months passed by, and my agent calls me up and he says that Bellator is cutting. They're canceling the season 7 bantamweight tournament in September, and they're releasing me. So I was like, pretty bummed out at that time. I was like, man, where do I go from here? My agent guys, Iridium Sports, they said, don't worry, Tyson, we're gonna be looking for some local shows here in California or whatnot. We're gonna be working hard to get you fights. So I mean, even though I was bummed out, I stayed up in the gym. I was still training, just looking on the glass is half full and half empty. So I just try to look on the bright side of things. And out of nowhere, my agents and my coach, they text me up. They're like, hey, we got a fight. You want to fight the Bellator bantamweight champion in Rio? And I literally had to read that text about 10 or 15 times and then I had to text them back, hey, did you guys text the right guy? And I went down to Rio. I went against their champion, and I mean, I'm from my understanding, I'm released from Bellator. Everything, they don't want anything to do with me. But as soon as I beat their champion, then they're all over it. They're bringing up this old contract that you released me from, and they're bringing out their matching rights on this and that, and that's where I'm standing right now. And my attorneys, coach, my agents, they're fighting for me right to make the decision that what I want to do.
I tell you what, it made me laugh when you said about the text. You must have. I bet you couldn't believe it when you got that text offering you that fight after everything that had gone on with Bellator. I bet you're just in shock.
Yeah, I was pretty much in shock because I was literally driving and I kind of glanced at it. I parked and I was like, yeah, I'll do it. I mean, where do I sign?
That was absolutely amazing. Now, do you know what happens with your next? Not necessarily with Bellator, but do you know who you'll be fighting next, where you'll be fighting, or is that just something you're waiting to hear?
Yeah, I'm just waiting to hear on top of that. Right now, I know that my agent and they're working on some deals with brand new promotions, big promotion. There's probably a few options out there, but right now I'm just waiting to hear what they got to offer for me, and make my decision and put my signature on top of the contract, and I should be able to release things hopefully in a few days or maybe in a week or two.
That's brilliant. That's really exciting to hear. I mean, I obviously had to bring that up because that's the big thing in the news, and I'm sure you can understand I was going to bring that up. But I just want to find out a little bit about you and your past in the sport. What got you into mixed martial arts? I mean, you've been fighting since 2006. What made you want to fight in MMA?
Well, I started off boxing and kickboxing, and out in Hawaii, and so happy that boxing was kind of and kickboxing was kind of getting run out of the scene, and MMA just started picking up in Hawaii. And my boxing coach was taught a famous mixed martial artist by the name of Egan Inoue how to box, and so I was kind of teamed up with the guys up at Grappling Unlimited in Hawaii, and they introduced me to MMA. It was pretty much because I was beating up a lot of their MMA guys at kickboxing, so they wanted to see how I would test doing mixed martial arts. So they threw me up in there. I had a pretty good first performance with all the hype that they was building up, and that's where it all took off.
Well, looking over your career, obviously, without thinking about your latest fight, I mean, going into that fight, you were 11-4. Have you got a favourite victory other than your latest fight?
That's got to be by far my most favorite victory. Not only was it like the first time that I had to pretty much travel outside of the country, but pretty much I'd had absolutely nobody cheering for me as well. So, I mean, I was just really ecstatic. I mean, that's pretty much why I ran out of the ring, and I was pretty much running for about 10-15 minutes inside the locker room after the victory. I was so excited.
Yeah, I can understand it. It was such a massive fight, especially with the history of being dropped and then re-signed and then dropped again. I bet it just felt like it was your time, really, didn't it?
Hmm.
Well, I know Patrick's eager to jump in, so I'm going to let him take the second half of the interview. You good to go, Patrick?
Yeah, I'm ready to go. Thanks, Ray, and thanks again, Tyson, for coming on. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Yeah, now we had actually talked to Coach Matt Lindland just a couple days after your victory over Eduardo Dantes, and he seemed very happy for you and very proud of your win. What is it like training with the legendary Team Quest crew, and how long have you been there?
Um, just to declare, I'm training out of Advanced Sports Labs now. I've when I moved up to Portland maybe about 3.5 years ago. Like I started off with Team Quest, but as for the past year and a half, I've been training with Advanced Sports Labs. But I mean, it was really great training with Team Quest when I was out over there. But I do think that it's a lot better fit now while I'm training up at Sports Labs up in Portland.
Okay, that's excellent. That's very good to know. Now, Sherdog has you listed as born in Portland, but you had alluded before that you do have ties to Hawaii, and you're there in Hawaii. Were you raised in Hawaii? What's the connection there?
Yes, I've been a native of Hawaii for about 26 years, right before I moved up to Portland. So, a little change of scenery, but yeah, my roots do sit in Hawaii.
Okay, excellent. Um, Now, I had heard in another interview that you had done that you said you had gotten into MMA and boxing and kickboxing with friends kind of as a way to stay in shape, and that they kind of pressured you to get into taking your first amateur fights. Is that right?
Yes, it's pretty much like some of the guys that I was training with. I was like, oh, we're gonna do some amateur kickboxing matches, and like training with them, sparring with them. They was like, hey, you wanna jump in on this? And I was like, I guess so. I ain't got nothing to do on top of Friday night, so why not?
Yeah, definitely. Now, did any of your buddies end up taking fights?
Yeah, like there's a bunch of us, maybe about 3 or 4 of us that did a kickboxing match many years ago, and that's how it all started off. I mean, I liked it, I enjoyed it. I definitely like the competition side of it. It's pretty much one on one, man to man, hand to hand, and it's pretty much competition at its finest.
Yeah, hey, I definitely agree. That's why MMA is so great. Um, Now, I'd also heard you refer to your diet as consisting of a lot of junk, and that Subway is a favorite food of yours. Is there any chance of getting the Happy Gilmore style Subway endorsement deal?
I don't know. Well, Subway is only when I'm actually cutting weight the week of, so majority of the time I eat probably a lot worse than that.
All right, I feel you. Now, if I were talking to someone that had never seen you compete, I would probably be inclined to say that you're a fighter who prefers to counter, whether moving forward or backward. Would you agree with that? And how would you describe your style?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I definitely like countering folks. Just always want to hit someone when they least expect it. So whether it be a counter or whether it be me actually setting something up with a jab and finishing off with a hard punch, but um, definitely punching, striking is always my weapon of choice when I am fighting.
I feel you. I feel you. Now, I actually wanted to talk to you about a fight you had a couple years ago in Hawaii with Keola Silva, I believe was your opponent. And
Yes.
I was watching some videos on that, and I know that that was listed as a 3 round fight, and I could only find like a couple rounds of it
You know,
on.
they I think they took out the best round because it was a decision win for a split decision win for Kiola, which I thought should have been in favor for myself, just because the two judges that gave him the fight actually trained with him.
Okay,
So I
you
think
know,
the round that you're referring to is when I actually knocked him down twice.
Yeah, I'd seen that was the round. I'd seen you had knocked him down twice, and there was a moment there. I think he got your back maybe like a minute in, but you defended yourself really well. He didn't even really get close to getting the choke or anything. Easy round for yourself. And then there was another one I had seen where it was more of a back and forth. He had your back for a little bit, but again, you defended well, and it also it looks like because he had your back, you ended up getting out of it, and it looks like maintaining a dominant position to me for the rest of the round. But at one point when you were kind of sweeping out, it looked like I thought you were going for an inverted triangle, and then it kind of looked like a reverse armbar or something. Were you
Yeah,
going for?
that was the very last round, which is why I thought I won the fight. I was like, okay, so he took my back and he really didn't do anything. Then I reversed it to where I was on top and I was punching him, and then I wrapped my legs around his head and his arm to look for an inverted triangle, looked for like a kimura, and that's how the round ended. So I mean, like I 100% thought guaranteed, hey, I won this fight just from how the outcome of this last round turned out to be, no matter who or what the judges scored in the very first round, because second round was all mines. And if at very least, like they could have scored the very last round a draw, but with the way that I ended the round, I mean, I thought that was a pretty decisive and easy to look at round that should have been in favor for myself.
Yeah, and I'd be inclined to agree. And I know that one of the judges did because the one judge who had scored in your favor had it 30-27. So that's why when I was looking back at that one, I really wanted to try and find the complete fight.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm still a little salty at the decision, but I mean, that's the name of the game. You leave it up into the judges' hands, and sometimes, you get the outcome that you don't want. But I mean, definite hats off to when I did fight Kelly. He was a strong beast, man. He was a real strong kid.
yeah, definitely. And it looked like you won that one to me, but hey, it's certainly been onward and upward since that fight for you. So uh, things are the karma's certainly going in your favor.
Mhm.
Um, Now, one last thing before we get you out of here, you seem to be a real big fan of MMA as well as a professional competitor, and we have a really big weekend of fights coming up. There's a UFC card, there's Shuto, there's Bellator, there's M1. Are there any fights in particular you're looking forward to watching this weekend?
Well, as much as Bellator has been hassling me, I do have a teammate that'll be fighting on the 170-pound tournament by the name of Tim Welch. So I mean, I'm hoping I'll be able to catch that event up on MTV2. No hard feelings toward Bellator, the name itself, but maybe toward Bjorn Rebney if we can just make men's and let me decide my own fate. That would be cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And Ray, do you have anything else before we wrap up?
Yeah, I'll just jump in. I just want to say, Tyson, we really appreciate you coming on the show. It's been such a pleasure talking with you. We'd like to give you a chance. We'll let you go. I'd like to give you a chance to shout out any friends, family, sponsors, and let fans know how they can contact you on either Facebook or Twitter.
Yeah, check me out on Twitter. It's pretty simple and easy. Just TYSONNAM, Tyson Nam. I like to send shout outs to my agent, Iridium Sports, our attorney, Andrew, up in New York, the guys up at Sports Labs, Portland, Oregon. All you fighters, come check us out, come train with us. The more the merrier. Like to thank some sponsors, Virus, Conca, Training Mask, Nutrition for You, everybody back in Hawaii, all my family and friends, my girlfriend Mel. Thank you very much.
Well, we really appreciate you coming on the show, and we look forward to hearing what's going to happen with you next and seeing you continue your rise up the MMA ladder.
Sounds good, guys. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tyson. Bye.
Thanks a lot, Tyson.
Right, absolute pleasure, Tyson Nam. Kind of a man of the moment at the minute. It was interesting to hear him give his take on the situation with Bellator. I really hope things are smoothed out, and like he says, he gets given the right to make his own decision. It does seem that they didn't want him, and then all of a sudden he's come good, and now they do want him. It seems very unfair, doesn't it?
Yeah, that was definitely the most unfortunate aspect of what came out of Tyson Nam's victory over Eduardo Dantes. But like I think he had alluded to, and I could have sworn I had seen something online. I think he had mentioned that what the whole situation was Bellator had a contract matching deal where even though they had released him, if another promotion made him an offer, they had the ability to step in and make a counter offer or something like that. And I believe that Bellator has said that they will not be pursuing their right to counter offers. So hopefully, like Tyson had said, he gets the freedom to move forward with his career the way he sees fit.
Well, he's earned the right to. I mean, it was such a fantastic victory for him, and it's his time now. He's coming off a big win. Let's just hope he can, get the deal that he wants with whichever organisation it is, and he can move on. It'd be nice to eventually see him, hopefully, battling with the top fighters in the UFC. He certainly seems like an exciting prospect, and it was certainly a spectacular win as well. His win over Dantes.
Yeah, absolutely. It really was, and he put Dantes clean out, and it couldn't be more impressive. So, like you said, hopefully, whether it's UFC or Strikeforce or who knows what the World Series of Fighting is going to be looking like. I'm sure Tyson Nam will have plenty of options in the future.
Let's hope so. Well, we're coming towards the end of the show now. We were talking about the card at the weekend. Now we've covered every fight except for one, so I'd like to go back to that fight and we'll discuss